Okay, so I thought I would just try to film a little video from my hometown. So this is where I'm living at the moment. I moved here in January. It's a small little place in Northern Norway. I've just been living here for about 2 months in January and in February. So here you can see all the beautiful mountains surrounding the little place. It's really a very beautiful little town, and the nature is sublime. It's very small. About well, I think about 1,000 people living here in the town itself, and 2,000 in all of the municipality. So it's really quite small, but it's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning, and as you can see, I'm out here skiing a bit. It was actually quite difficult. Oh, look at that! It's so beautiful. So I'm actually out here skiing. I'm filming with my phone. So in the one hand, I have my phone, and in the other, I'm filming with my phone. Nothing fancy, just filming with my phone in one hand and the pole in the other. So it was quite difficult actually to film this. So that's also why the camera is moving quite a bit. So I hope it's not too annoying. And I tried to do it as best I could while skiing. So here you can see my skis going forward, enjoying the scenery. And as you can also see, it's a really, really beautiful day. So this was filmed in March, today, the 4th of March. So as you can see, March is a very wintry month here in this little town in Northern Norway. Of course, the winter lasts. Look at it; it's so beautiful. So winter actually lasts for quite a while here in the north of Norway. Sometimes until mid-April, and sometimes even until May. So it really depends. It varies from year to year. So we'll see how it's this year. But I think the temperature was about -10 when I was out skiing now, and it's usually actually quite cold when it's so sunny and clear the sky. That is often a sign, at least during winter, that it's really cold outside. So it's actually quite a good sign. But the sun is actually starting to warm a bit. So in February there is a bit of sun, but it doesn't really give you any warmth. But in March, so I'm trying to film while going up the hill here. It was actually really difficult, so that's why you're seeing me struggle a bit more and moving around the camera. And it's not easy using one pole and trying to get up this. Surprisingly, yeah, you can see me struggling a bit there. So it wasn't easy to get up, but I managed to get up at last. So really nice to get some down, and yeah. So I'm entering a small forest area, quite a lot of, and the sun is really, really nice in my face now. Yeah, as I was saying, the sun is actually starting to warm a bit now. So it's really nice to feel the sun in my face. And February was actually quite a bad month here. It was, it's so beautiful, the mountain. February we had a lot of weather, quite a lot of changes from day to day. We had some mild weather, then some cold weather, then some snow, and I didn't really see the sun a lot in February. So this was actually the first time that we had a really, really sunny day I think, in almost a month. So this, I had to go out and go for some skiing. So I was really enjoying it now, and I think this was about 10 o'clock in the morning. So it's also already starting to. Yeah, the sun is rising. Yeah, really early now. Actually, quite early compared to, for example, in January, the sun doesn't rise at all. So it's really dark in January. When I came here, I didn't see the sun for a month. So the first time I saw the sun was in the start of February, actually. So you can technically see the sun rise above the horizon the 28th of January. That's the first day you can see the sun. If you're lucky. We weren't that lucky, so it was a bit cloudy that day, so I didn't see the sun. But although the sun doesn't rise above the horizon, it gets, it's not pitch black. It's never really pitch black, not even at the start of January. We will have some bluish light. It's often called for the blue hour. So during the middle of the day, it'll get a bit lighter. It's really bluish, the light in January. But now the sun has really risen above the horizon and showing its magnificence to everyone. So keep going through the forestry area here, and really just enjoying the view. It's really nice to go in the forest as well, and as you can see, there is a bit of snow on the trees. So I think we had some snowfall during the night. So it was really nice, to walk through the forest and enjoy the scenery, because the mountains are so stunning here. So the mountain that you see right ahead there, to the left, that's called Geisi. That's actually a Sami name. The Sami people. This is originally a Sami town. The Sea Sami, as they're called, the indigenous people of Norway. So there is actually quite a lot of Sami culture here in the municipality and in this town in particular. So there is this really big festival for indigenous peoples in general during summer in July. It's actually the biggest such festival for indigenous people in all around the world here in this small little town. So about 4, maybe even 5,000 people will come to this town. And as you remember, this town only has 1,000 people, so that's quite a drastic change from the normal life. So during a week in, I think I'm changing hand now, and I fell while changing the hand of my camera. It's actually surprisingly difficult to ski while holding a camera, so I tried my best. Looking at the mountains there for a while. Yeah, so this Ridu Ridu is the name of the festival, the biggest festival for indigenous people. So a lot of indigenous artists will come, Sami, but also from other parts of the world, really everywhere. So I think some Mexican artists, for example, will perform at the festival, and indigenous people from all around the world. I know that indigenous people from Mongolia have come, and from China, from Russia, from Latin America, from Canada, so and from Greenland, and from a lot of places. and of course also a lot of Sami people, the indigenous peoples of Norway and of Sweden and Finland and in parts of Russia. Yeah, so I think I'll be following while trying to film the beautiful river. I got a bit distracted and fell again. Oops. But yeah, going down. Look at that. This is one of my favorite places actually, because you can see the beautiful mountains. You have the river flowing by. You can see further into the valley. The sun is rising really nicely here. And you can also see some dew rising from the river. So it's really, really, really nice. So now I'll be starting. I'm actually going on the river now. So this section was a bit more icy, a bit more difficult to traverse. So I had to be a bit careful in some sections, and it was actually quite difficult to slide. So some places I had some problems with my phone there. But yeah, it was really hard to slide here, so I had to walk a bit or find some different routes because it was so icy. So I didn't want to break my skis either. So I had to tread a bit more careful here. So you actually have to be really careful of avalanches when going in on the mountains. And there are always a lot of avalanches here during the winter and also in spring, especially in spring. So I actually saw an avalanche quite close to my house. It was quite spectacular. I was going outside and then suddenly I heard this rumbling sound, really, really loud, and I ran. I looked behind me and I just saw this white cloud coming down the mountain. It was quite always inspiring, but also quite frightening because the forces involved are so great. So seeing some birds there flying, actually really nice. A sign that spring will come eventually. And summer afterwards. But I'm also really enjoying winter. Winter here is so beautiful. So we're not complaining. Yeah, so a bit icy there, so I almost lost my grip. Yeah, so you have to be really careful when going into the mountains and below the mountains. You should be really, really careful. And also you should, check the weather, check the climate, talk to the locals. What are they saying? The locals know best. So even if you're going with a guide in the mountains, you should ensure that the guide actually knows the area. That's really important because you have to know the area, you have to know the mountains, you have to know where the avalanches or where the risk of avalanches is the highest. And it's the difference between life and death. So here you can really see how icy it was in some parts. I'm literally walking on the river. So actually a lot of scooters are driving here. So that's also why, it's such a nice path there for me to slide on. Well, not now because it's so icy, but the scooters will make these paths that, when skiing I can follow. And they drive far, far, far into the valley. So you know the only limitation is your energy and your form, and I guess how much food you bring. So you can walk for hours if you want to, literally hours. Yeah, so I had to walk a bit because it was so icy. So you can see that it's a bit more open now, which is nice as well. And the trees don't have that much snow on them, I guess, because the sun is shining directly on them, so it melts quite easily. So you can see that the pace is has changed quite dramatically. I'm going much slower now, and it's also difficult, you know, with the camera in one hand, so I can't use both of my skiing poles, which also affects my balance. I'm trying my best and and quite successful, I would say. So in the horizon there to the left, you can actually see some houses. I think it's a small farm actually. So there are lots of small farms here in even in Northern Norway. So although the growing season is very short, it starts in June, in the end of June actually, and ends in, well, October, I think. So just a couple of months of growing. But during summer, you have the sun is never sets. So although the growing season is very short because it's so cold, and you know sometimes it even snows in May, so you can't really start the season in May. You have to wait, often have to wait even until June. But although it's short, when the growing season starts, you get beautiful. Oh, it's so beautiful. You get sunshine. You can get, you have the sun 24 hours during the day. So that's quite advantageous, I guess. And with the climate change, the growing season will also shift a bit. And climate change will actually affect Northern Norway more than many other regions. So Northern Norway is already warming up more quickly than other parts of the world. So here I'm struggling up another small hill. Another time today you can see a shack. But it's quite beautiful with the nature around it, and has this old feel. It gives it an old feel of the place. So I think it's quite cool to see how farming is even possible this far north. And if you compare it to, for example, Canada, so Canada, northern Canada is really, really cold, and this is actually, well, I think as north as the middle of Alaska, I think. About 69.5, I think, degrees north. So it's really, really, really far north. And if we compare this to Alaska, it's actually quite different. The climate is much, much milder. And that has a lot to do with the currents of the ocean. the Gulf Stream, for example, that comes from the Gulf of Mexico. So warm water is brought to the coast of Norway from Mexico, or from the Gulf of Mexico, which makes the climate much better in Northern Europe in general. So that's why, we can even grow things this far north. And it's also relatively mild compared to how far north we are. So as you can see, the path ended. So here I'm threading my own path, which is a lot tougher. But doing my best, as you can see. And I really like to go on these skiing trips. So what I did, I ate some breakfast, had a cup of coffee, and I went out. As I said, 200 meters, and I was also already skiing, which is so nice, and is definitely an advantage of living in such a remote place. You have nature all around you, and it's quite. So I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to to risk it, because I didn't know how if the ice under would be solid enough to hold me. So I didn't want to risk anything. So I took another way around. To be sure, and to check the ice first. You should always check the ice before going on it. It can be quite dangerous, to fall under, fall into the water, and in this case the river. It's very difficult to come up afterwards, and it's also very cold. So here I'm reaching, checking a bit, and seems okay. So there you can see me holding the camera in one hand and skiing with my single pole in the other. So you should always be careful. A lot of people have actually died from falling into the water, because the water is icy cold, and it doesn't take a lot of time to kill. Well, it's been a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed this little ride, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Bye bye.